Spirit Sports Consultants presents
College football week 9 picks. We're going to focus on the conferences we know the best. Starting off with the SEC. Got a great SEC matchup here with Missouri at Alabama. Alabama has struggled since that big emotional win against Georgia, maybe a double letdown in their past few games. Missouri looked really bad against Auburn. That was mostly because Brady Cook missed the majority of that game. Very sloppy, kind of an ugly game. We're going to make this pick under the assumption the quarterback Brady Cook does play. Watch the injury reports. We think if he does play, they're a tough bet for the Tide to win big. We like them at underdog plus 14.5. Auburn at Kentucky, and for these two teams, we don't know Kentucky as well, but we know Auburn very well, having attended the Auburn-Oklahoma game earlier this season and watched all their games on tape. And what we've seen from the Auburn Tigers is a complete lack of offense. We see the ability that Peyton Thorne might have, but he just makes the bad decisions at critical times. So for that, but we love the Auburn defense. So regardless of what Kentucky does, we think the key play here is under. Look for that number of 43, 44 if you can get it. Go with the under on this game. Now let's take a look at who would be in the playoff if the season ended today, starting with the conference leaders, Oregon, Georgia, Miami, and Iowa State. Then we're moving on to Penn State, LSU. That's a key game with A&M this week. Tennessee, Boise State as the best of the group of five. Then BYU, Ohio State, Texas, and Clemson. Key teams that aren't on this list that you might want to watch out for. We already mentioned the A&M and LSU game. We're going to do this as our last game in this video. Also, Notre Dame, they play Navy this week. That could be a stay alive game for them. They really have a uphill road because they're not in a conference, so they can't get in that way. Have to get in as an at-large team. Other teams to look out for: Missouri, they can still work their way back into the playoff. The Battle of Michigan as the Spartans face the Wolverines. Looking at these two teams, neither one have been truly dominant this season, in a season in which the Big Ten has been just great with all the new additions and teams like Oregon, Washington, and surprise teams like Indiana, etc. And this one, it's always MSU that seems to be the underdog, even when they're maybe a little bit better. We think this might be the case as well. Looking at the public loves Michigan. It's just a more high-profile team, but we think this is the opportunity to go contrarian and take the Spartans +4. Utah, Houston. We included this game as an example of public perception and opinion versus reality. And both these teams really struggle on offense, but Utah's got the higher profile. They were really a leading contender for the Big 12. U of H, on the other hand, has not been contending for anything except the cellar. But in this game, Utah's offense has been doing almost nothing. U of H has done nothing either. We think they might be due for a bounce back. We like them +4. Public betting percentage is 70% on Utah. That's a red flag for us. Go Cougs. Washington at Indiana. It's very difficult to judge a team, in our opinion, until you watch a lot of their games. And for a team that doesn't really have a strong football reputation, such as Indiana, that was key. Well, we did exactly that. We went back and watched them, especially this past week's game. And it's not like they won with a bunch of smoke and mirrors. They were legitimately good. We think the new coach has got a great team, a lot of transfers in there. We think also Washington, another pattern we've seen with the new expanded Big Ten. Teams come from the West Coast to the Midwest, struggle. Same thing with the Midwest teams going out there. We like the home Hoosiers in this one, -6.5. Notre Dame versus Navy. This is a neutral site game. Last year they played in Dublin, Ireland. This year it's at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Looking at Navy, undefeated team facing the Fighting Irish, who typically tend to be a little bit overhyped. But we think this year the motivation is on the side of the Irish in that they have an outside shot at the playoff. They have a tougher road due to the fact they have no conference affiliation, can't get in as a conference champion, going to have to get an at-large bid. But we think they're going to be motivated. I like them covering this 11.5-point spread here. Boise State at UNLV, and if the season ended today, Boise State would be in the 12-team playoff as the top team in the group of five, as they call it. We like this matchup going at UNLV. We think that running back, the Heisman contending Ashton, is going to be unstoppable. We like Boise State here -2.5. We don't see UNLV necessarily being a huge home field edge. We think what Boise State's doing is phenomenal, and we see them in the playoff. So go with Boise State here -2.5. LSU at Texas A&M, and check the SEC standings. These are the current top two teams in the SEC fighting for the lead, with Georgia, Alabama, and Texas each having one loss in conference play. A&M has made a nice run since that opening game loss against Notre Dame. They really were outclassed by Riley Leonard and the Irish. But we look at this, LSU is going to be now playing their second road game in a row, having just played at Arkansas, and the home field edge at Kyle Field and A&M College Station cannot be overstated. Those fans are nuts. It's a crazy environment. I grew up as a fan of Houston Cougars. We went to those games all the time. It was a tough place to win. We think that's enough, and we like the way Connor Wegman's been playing. We think that's going to be enough to beat the Tigers here. Take A&M -2.5.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.